It's time for Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Now, here's Bart Scott and Dan Graca.
And welcome into another edition of Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca sitting alongside my pal, Bart Scott. Bart, they said it couldn't be done, but lo and behold, the Jets are in the win column. They head out to the West Coast for the second straight week and stun the heavily favored Rams 23-20. The goose egg is no more. How are you?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm sure they feel good. I'm sure that was a great plane ride home, finally figuring what it feels like, or feeling what it feels like to have a victory Monday. All the hard work, all the dedication put in over the weeks finally paid off, and they finally put together a complete football game, offense, defense, special teams, even great man getting involved in it with his pseudo chop of the punt returner, saving a touchdown, maybe saving a ball game. You know, you think about Marcus May making, game-winning plays after giving up a touchdown, coming back, and, they like that matchup, and, he was the better man. So this is one of those things where it's something that you can build on, and it's important when you're putting in all the hard work to finally, see the results of what all that hard work and dedication and coming to work with a positive attitude is done every day.
Yeah, and you heard it from those guys after the game too, right? I mean, the fact that you don't have any fans in the building, you can hear that raw emotion on the field, and you heard how excited those guys were when they knew that they had the game won. You heard them in the postgame. I mean, Mekhi Becton, a rookie, for example, to him, that was almost like the equivalent of winning the Super Bowl. He doesn't know what it feels like to win a game yet in the National Football League. But I think you hit it right on the head, right? All three phases contributed to this victory. It's a cliche, yes, but the offense went out there, put points up on the board against the number one ranked defense in the National Football League. Defense, which was already down Foley Fatukasi and Jordan Jenkins, who's on IR. They lose Quinnen Williams in the second half, but other guys stepped up. Nathan Shepard had himself as good a game as you're going to see from him all season. Bryce Hall, the rookie, had his first career interception. And the special teams contributions. You mentioned Braden Mann. How about the block punt with JT Hassel, who's a newly acquired player? Sam Ficken, back on the field off injured reserve, made all three of his field goals. I don't know if they win this game if each one of those players don't make the plays that we just singled out.
They don't, because the units by themselves aren't good enough to elevate the other two. So I think they need a complete game and make a mistake-free game. Sam was clean in the pocket. Aaron Donald wasn't disruptive. They didn't really get to Sam overly, with an overabundance. And, the Wally veteran was doing what he needed to do to keep the chains moving, and also, being able to pick up, necessary first downs so that they can ice the game. I mean, that was classic Frank Gore, making sure to understand that he may not have time to turn left or turn right, just backing up and just making sure that the first thing that hit him, he's able to continue to try to get to the sticks, and that's what he was able to do.
All right, time now to get more on yesterday's game with Jets senior reporter Eric Allen and former tight end Anthony Beck. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, fellas. Well, Anthony, listen. After 13 consecutive losses to start the season, the Jets were a 17-point underdog heading to Los Angeles. Nobody believed in them but the guys in that locker room, and they got it done. A 23-20 upset of the Rams at SoFi Stadium. What a gutsy effort.
Yeah, first I just want to congratulate the players. This is a tough mental grind, and then the Jets, who we've seen now, when pieces are intact, that was as good as I've seen them play. I mean, that first half of football, especially defensively, Eric, was really almost fun to watch. I mean, they shut down an offense that was pretty much equipped to do whatever they wanted from a pass and run standpoint. The pressure was really good. The secondary getting a turnover, just setting the offense up and giving them the opportunities. And, of course, offensively, being able to, move the sticks, but you're able to put points up when you're given the opportunity. And, listen, kudos to the players. They deserve a win, maybe even more wins moving forward. But Jets get their first one and definitely saw that, those guys were definitely, relieved to get the first one off their back.
Sam Darnold's been continually questioned throughout this year. What did you think about his effort completing 71% of his passes?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was a four-quarter effort from Sam today. Made some really good throws. Was able to handle the pressure of the defensive line of the Rams, which we have talked about. He did make some key conversions as far as first downs were concerned, moving the sticks, not just on third down, but some nice plays on first and second down pass opportunities.
A lot of unsung heroes today, no doubt about that. On both sides of the football, you were getting contributions from all over the place, and I thought it was fitting for this team that the player who makes the key defensive play was Marcus May. He's been a consummate professional here this season.
Yeah, how about, for Jets fans that don't know him, I had to kind of look him up in the roster. JT Hassel with a block punt. I mean, you want to talk about getting contributions across the board. Guys, listen, this game is a team game, but individual efforts that can change the complexion of the game and give you what you need to get over the hump. Listen, the Jets get their first W. I think when you look at this game, it's something that they can feel good about this week. And they've been fighting, scratching, and crawling. They finally put a 4-quarter game together.
Coming up next, we'll be joined by Jets corner Arthur Maulet right here on Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. And welcome back to Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca, joined by Bart Scott. And now we are pleased to be joined in our player guest segment, which is presented by EY, building a better working world, by Jets corner Arthur Maulet, who's nice enough to give us some time. Arthur, Dan Graca, and Bart Scott here. How was your weekend?
It was good, man. Went to LA, got some good weather, got a good dub. Can't complain at all.
Makes that plane ride a lot easier coming back, right?
Man, what was it? Got some good rest.
Y'all couldn't get victory Mondays and kind of stay out there for a Monday and get some more extra vitamin D on the house. Y'all had to come back.
Man, I wish, but with the COVID protocol, you might get fined, man. You see, I always got my mask right with me just in case.
Now, how crazy is that protocol, man? Right? Because sometimes you gotta forget what's going on the sideline. You're trying to talk to your teammates, get adjustments, and you like, man, I ain't even got no mask. It's like, is it one of those things where it has to become second nature?
Honestly, I think our staff do a good job because we got the EQ guys. They always on top of it. Like, we give you a mask. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, you wear it. Like, it's your choice, but we're giving it to you. So they do a good job, honestly.
How about going into that game yesterday? You're coming off a performance in Seattle where clearly it wasn't your best afternoon. Now you're making a second straight trip out to the West Coast, heavy underdog, going up against a really good Rams team. Collectively, did you guys come together and just put that last one out of your memory before you took the field to go take on LA?
Yeah, honestly, I think that's what we do a great job with, man. We don't harp on what, happened in the past. We go into the future, we put our hard hats on and we get to work and then we go to the next opponent. We don't think about what happened back in. So we take it one step at a time and try to get a win.
It's crazy. Sometimes you wake up and you go through a couple of drives and it's going to be one of those days where stuff is going your way.
Mm-hmm.
You just hope that you can capitalize on the momentum. Like, At what point did you get out there? It's like, man, this ain't as hard as I thought it would be. We kind of got these guys dialed in.
Yeah, honestly, man, after that first drive, we kind of had a goal. Nev kind of brought us in a huddle before going into the game and was like, man, look, take this one stop at a time, 3 and out. And then once we got those first 2 3 and outs, man, I just think we was on a roll and I felt like we could stop them anytime we needed to.
Yeah, it felt like, maybe they took you guys lightly. Sometimes you can look at an opponent on film and they don't look as good or they don't look like they're playing as hard because you can't really get opportunity to kind of figure out, where they're at. You know what I mean? Sometimes, teams can come together and the light turns on collectively for an opponent. It looked like maybe they were looking past you guys and really didn't prepare like they needed to for an opponent. Understand that any given Sunday that you let somebody stay in the game with you, they start believing, and belief is a powerful thing.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Honestly, I think they kind of took us lightly. And that was one thing that, we had that chip on our shoulder where they thought it was going to be a, walk in the park. But, we came in ready to win a game, honestly. This is the NFL. Anybody can win. So you got to bring that same respect with any given team. And I think we do a good job with that.
It's interesting you said that, too, because just from watching it, on television, you could tell that, maybe they were a little lackadaisical in at least the first 2 quarters. And look, to no fault of your own, you guys took full advantage. And then they made that comeback a little bit in the second half, but it was too little, too late. So many guys, Arthur, talked about the elation and the joy in that locker room after the game. I mean, what was it like to be in a victorious locker room for the first time this year?
Man, it was a blessing, honestly, because we work our butts off, man. We had a, with this COVID stuff and with the type of season and the things that we have in our locker room that we don't talk about, the adversity, that comes with it. I just think my hat goes off to all the guys on the team, man, of just, sticking with it, fighting through and getting the win, what I'm saying, through the tough times that we did have.
And welcome back to Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca alongside Bart Scott. It's time now to get a little bit more from the voices of the New York Jets. Here's Bob WISCHUSEN and Marty Lyons. Guys?
Thanks very much. Well, Marty, the Jets, I know that there's been talk all season long among the fans about what quarterback they want, what draft choice they want, and whether or not they wanted the Jets to lose all their games. But we've been talking about it all season. On that sideline, in that locker room, and with those players, they wanted to win a game in the worst possible way. And they went out to Los Angeles, and it was amazing. Early in the game, you could sense it right from the start. We talked about it throughout our broadcast. They looked like the quicker, more desirous, more physical team.
You know what, Bob, what surprised me is the energy that they had. This was not an 0-13 team that went out there to LA. They went out there with a great deal of pride, a great deal of respect for one another. And you could tell on the opening drive when the Jets drove the ball 75 yards down the field and got the touchdown. Certainly, they didn't want to settle for all those field goals. They controlled the line of scrimmage on the offensive side and the defensive side. And as Coach Parcells used to say, if we win the battle up front, we're going to win the game.
What did you think about, as you said, just their play at the line of scrimmage? Quinnen Williams, before he left the game with a head injury, looked unblockable. Probably the best we've seen Nathan Shepard look this season. Aaron Donald made a couple of impactful plays for the Rams on their defensive line, but not nearly what we thought he would do. Sam Darnold had a couple of moments where he had to throw the ball away to avoid sacks, but it seemed like all in all, for a defense that was number one in total defense in the NFL, they had much less of an advantage than you would think they would have had on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Well, they didn't get enough pressure on Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold found a favorite target today, not just Jamison Crowder. He got Chris Herndon involved. And Chris Herndon was targeted 3 times. He had 3 receptions, came up big. But I like the tempo of the defense. A lot of credit should go to Frank Bush. Second game as a defense coordinator, had the guys, number one, prepared to play. They executed the game plan almost flawless, and they were able to put pressure on the quarterback, able to shut down the Rams completely. And what I think they actually did, Bob, they frustrated the Rams. The Rams were looking over at their sideline going, wait a minute, this isn't the same team that we saw on film for the last 13 games. I'm proud of the Jets, proud of their performance, and they should be too.
Yep, they avoid being a winless team, and they showed a professional pride that they've shown other times this season. But today, you have to think that, when you're asking these football players to make the sacrifices and work as hard as you're asking them to make and work, that sooner or later you want to see their investment pay off with some results. And they get that with a win in Los Angeles over the Rams. So still 2 games to go. We'll see what happens to the Jets these last couple of games. But at the very least, they do have a win on the board as we go back to you in the studio.
Coming up next, we'll hear more from Jets DB Arthur Maulet right here on Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. And welcome back into Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca with Bart Scott, and we're talking to Jet corner Arthur Maulet, and our player guest segment is brought to you by EY, building a better working world. Second game with Frank Bush calling the defense, and certainly there was a stark difference from what you guys did last week out into Seattle versus what you did against the Rams on Sunday. Was there anything different in terms of the communication with, Frank calling the game and, in terms of looks and stuff like that? Or was everything as similar to what it was against the Seahawks?
I mean, honestly, I think everything was similar. I just think the guys that's on the field are meshing better with each other, honestly, playing with each other, knowing, who we need to help and things like that. It was the same scheme. I think just everybody did their job and did the best to the best ability they could, So that's really what it was. Frank did a good job putting us in the right place, and we did our jobs to where, they schemed didn't affect us.
But you know what's crazy, right? Because I played for, when I got in the league, I played for Mike Nolan was the coordinator, and then Rex became the defensive coordinator. And, the difference is certain people see certain things and see certain strengths in certain people.
Right.
And I'm sure Frank had a relationship with guys that may not feel like they were getting a fair shake.
Right.
And when he became the defensive coordinator, they look at that as like a new lease on life and a blank slate, and they have to prove what they can't do to him and not what they can do. So they may get some more opportunities, and he gives guys an elevated role. So are you guys going through that phase now where you're saying, hey, man, well, I may not have got my chance, because Mike Nolan couldn't stand me. But then again, Rex loved me.
Right.
And at the end, I found my role in his league to the tune
What did you do to Mike
league.
Nolan? Why didn't Mike Nolan like you?
He didn't like my personality.
Oh.
And for as much as it is, like I'm loquacious, I'm braggadocious.
Shocking.
I'm in your face,
A lot of people don't like that. Yeah.
Right, they don't like when you're confident in yourself. You know what I mean?
Don't.
He didn't like that. He wanted a different type of player. That's why when I played him in San Francisco, I was lighting Frank Gore ass up to let him know that I'm that dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's just how it is. And people always say that, oh, the teacher don't like you. Listen, we're people at the end of the day, and certain personalities don't mesh with certain people.
Exactly.
And maybe with Frank, I feel like maybe guys feel like they get a new lease on life, that they don't have that scarlet letter, that they only can do this. They're going to get an opportunity to do it until they prove that they can't.
Exactly.
So
and that's the biggest thing. You hit it right on the head, man. Some guys are getting some burn, and, that's one thing we talked about. The opportunity for you is now here, you know what I'm saying? And you're either going to take advantage of it or you're not. And, one thing he said, man, if you do your job, we'll be fine. If not, then you got to get off the field because you're hurting the guy in front of you. And he made it simple, man. He made it real simple for us this past week, saying that, by Friday, know what you need to do. If you don't know what you need to do, the guy next to you can't trust you, so you can't be out there. So, when he said that, I think everybody toned in and really got the job done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what I didn't see is a lot of red two in the field.
Yeah.
Cover two. Because, traditionally for us, when I played that was a red zone defense, because you don't want your middle linebacker covering 20 yards down the field.
Exactly.
Right, 20 yards down the field, because even if his back is turned, the quarterback's going to throw it anyway because you can't see it coming.
It's ball or call. You already know. You got the linebacker out there running with a guy that run a 4.43-ish.
Right. And then the text message is always sent by Hewitt because he lines up at 7 yards, so everybody knows that you're in it. So then they have the cover two beaters.
Yep.
So it looked like you guys were playing more discipline and having your eyes set and not really putting a lot of stress on a lot of people, and putting the heavy lifting on the corners and not putting it on the linebackers to be in coverage. Even you see when Arthur kind of knew what was coming with the cut split and the wheel route, understanding that was coming based on alignment. That only comes from field study.
Exactly.
And being able to be taught, what to anticipate coming into the game.
For sure.
You already have a lot figured out as far as life after football. Really productive with your off the field stuff in terms of, business ventures. If I'm not mistaken, you and I were talking, I think it was last year. What do you own a trucking company, right?
Yeah, I got a trucking company in Dallas, called Maulet Trucking, obviously. And I got a mobile detailing business back at home in New Orleans. And it's going very well, man. Honestly, I want to be a mass entrepreneur. When I get out the league, I want to have my hands into multiple business. And I feel like, mailbox money is the best money now. So why not put my money into something that I can see grow and control?
Making things happen, definitely. How about this week with Christmas and the holidays? I'm sure you guys are going to be practicing still on Thursday and Friday, but even though you're away from home, you're home, what's Christmas like being an NFL player? How do you make it close to what you're used to, growing up with being at home with your family?
Honestly, every team does their Secret Santa and stuff like that. So, I got a couple rooks I'm going to get some presents to. Got a couple teammates I'm going to get some presents to. Chill with those guys, man. And that's my family away from home. So, chill with those guys and just be around them and have fun with those guys. That's about it.
Hey, Arthur, thanks for joining us, man. As always, really appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and good luck the last 2 weeks of the season. Finish strong, and we appreciate you doing this.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
That's all for this week. For Bart Scott, I'm Dan Graca. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you again next week on Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. So long, everybody.